Greetings, everyone. It is still Monday, and I just finished uploading a video in regards to something I got out of this kit. This EternalPencil thing, which I think is interesting. I did this hideous little drawing here. Let me see if I can move on from that, though. Okay. Well, I took a moment to just make sure that this tip, the EternalPencil, is put into this cylinder here, which I think is kind of, I like the look of this. Let me set that there for a moment. I was going to put it on this brush, but I have an idea. Okay, well, that was pretty easy, so, well, I can use this for something else. I think I could use this on the end. That fits pretty good. So, I mean, I could sweep off the page. Oh, that's still... Okay, well, there's that. Or maybe I can use it on this end to protect the end a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Well, that's not that bad. All right, so what was I going to ramble on about and then do a secondary sort of revisiting of this pencil, which is kind of interesting. I did look up something about what these EternalPencils are supposed to be like and what makes them good and all that kind of stuff. Well, how they relate to graphite, which you'd commonly find in a supposed lead pencil, this could last up to 100 times longer. Eternal? No, not necessarily eternal. The metal alloy that makes this stuff up is often either tin or bismuth or aluminum. Now, aluminum would be pretty cool because I think, well, it would be pretty light to use. Bismuth, though, might be the real deal kind of thing. So this, for example, would probably have a bit more bismuth in it. That metal, this is actually solder, and this stuff would probably work pretty good for writing because, I mean, it can mark a little bit. It would be pretty light. Bismuth is used in a lot of things like cosmetics, for example, or used in paint. And it's also used in well, if you have like an upset stomach or diarrhea, you see that pink stuff that people use when they have issues with their digestive system. Bismuth is in that as well. So let's zoom in on this page for a moment, and I'm just going to kind of mark a couple of things, and then I'll get back to that pencil and maybe do a slightly more serious drawing with it, and then maybe highlight that with ink after if I feel like it. So first, let's see how this stuff marks. So this is solder. It does mark a little bit, and this would last a very long time because not much material is coming off of this. If I were so crafty, which I am, I could make a tip much like that. And I mean, this could be 100 years worth of writing material. Maybe not 100 years, but you know, it would last a very long time. Quick experiment. Here's that little chunk of eraser. Let's see how this erases. Same kind of thing as lead. You can kind of erase it. I don't know what like different temperatures would do to this. If I, put this in cold after, if that would kind of disappear or not, or reappear. So yeah, you can use solder to draw on paper. I do have a piece of copy paper here, which is much brighter. more compacted fibers of paper. And it marks on that as well. This one here, the commercially available version of a EternalPencil, just based on its composition, marks a little bit darker, so it's slightly softer than whatever's going on with that solder. So that's interesting. So that's my EternalPencil. I don't know if I want to keep this on there or not, but I mean, yeah, anyway. So let's use this device to try to draw something slightly more serious. Last time I did kind of with this thing off to one side, which is a Hot Wheels car called Feline Lucky. And yeah, let's try to keep that in mind a little bit. And of course, little Luna, the cat. So, okay, so let's try a slightly more serious version of Luna. And again, I'm just scratching here. Now, Luna's not in front of me, but Luna is a tick tabby. And as a tick tabby, her fur kind of has three, or can have three, sort of shades to it. So you'd have like very dark brown, light brown, and white, or black. Kind of unique, kind of cool. So all I'm doing here is kind of the same thing that I drew before, slightly bigger face. I'm going to exaggerate a little smile on her face. Slight sort of tilting. She's kind of an aloof kitty. Let's go a little bit of the bridge of the nose here. Now in my sketchbook here on YouTube, I don't often bring out a pencil. Nothing wrong with that. It's just, yeah, I don't always. I like pencil. Nothing wrong with that either. Now, let's see. Move this up a little bit. Now, somewhere along the way, this little tick tabby face, there's a hidden M in the forehead. I like to try to incorporate that in there. I find it interesting that house cats have eyes that seem in some way like reptiles. The night vision of a cat is rather extraordinary too. And I personally think that little Luna might actually be more of a barn cat by nature. I could be wrong. I think cats in general probably like to consider themselves hunters. And whether or not they would do well in that world to sustain themselves, I don't know. So a lot of the play, let's back this out a little bit, that is used for Luna has to do with hunting, it seems. Like there's fun little toys that are used on strings. I think there's one around that looks a little bit like a fishing rod. That way you can throw something away and then she will chase it down. And if she doesn't, then you can bring it back to yourself and throw it again. Now, do I want to trick this design a little bit? Yeah, I don't know. Let's try a little bit. So on here, as part of that, looks like there's like a bell there and a little red ribbon around the neck, and then of course the raised paw. There's little tiny feet on either side. Very interesting. Just using that hook, that's what that was hung on the tree like, whereas the other car, yeah, well, I took it out of the package. So we're going to put this collar on here, I think, which I don't know if we've never put a collar on Luna. And that bell could be one of those things that you would use to make sure that you couldn't track down a bird. So if you put a bell on a cat's collar, they're not able to really sneak up, which I suppose is kind of the point of that. Now that paw seems to be up a lot higher. Like way up here. If you go into certain restaurants, you might see that somebody has one of these cats. Kind of like a, it would look a little bit like a toy, I suppose, but kind of like a statuette of a cat, and that's meant to either bring good luck or good fortune, which I guess is also good luck too. And on this, it does have a date of September 29th, which is sort of like the day of the cat, if you look close enough here. Oops, let's see if that'll focus. So there's some importance of that. Let's see, will that refocus down there? Okay. Well, that is the rough idea of what I wanted out of this little drawing. Now that's not really dark, as you can see. Let's see if it'll go a little bit darker on an outline. keep the claws retracted for a little kitty buddy. For our little friend Luna. Just to see. It's a little bit darker on that paw. I think another reason why I don't really use pencil in my YouTube doodling is it smudges different, and it doesn't control the same way as ink does. It's a very different thing, but that could be another reason. Let's see, how do I want whiskers? Well, I'll worry about that in a moment. Around the mouth here would be kind of light, but not necessarily, because we are wanting to be able to make out this kitty cat smile. And go a little bit darker for the nose, I think. We'll establish where we will see the whiskers. See what we can do with these eyes a little bit here too. Just a little bit darker. The idea of a cat bringing good fortune makes kind of sense. Culturally, cats are kind of, I don't know if you want to call them like gatekeepers of sorts, but they are kind of remarkable. They can help keep pests away from your home. Okay, let's see. I think that is all that I feel like doing with that. I will differentiate the eyes here just a little bit. That's interesting. Do I want to have that bell? Well, let's put some version of it on here. So I'll just put that on there like that. Sort of like the casting or mold ridge around it here, like so. I'll kind of darken that in a little bit, even though this doesn't go super dark. And here we will have where it splits. Just like that. And I think for fun, I'm not even going to put any ink on this. And I'll just let the EternalPencil stand alone, as annoying as that is in my brain. I'm going to have it so that perhaps this bell is in movement, because I guess how else would I have attached it if it was not attached here? That should have been kind of hanging, right? Yeah. Well. I don't know what else I can do. I shouldn't say I don't know as often as I sometimes do when I'm doing this, mainly because I don't plan on certain things, so not always the best thing to say, I don't know. But I think you should always admit that if you don't know something that you don't know, and that you will do your best to find out for sure. I think that's it. I think that's it for that. I don't know if it really needs a whole lot else, just because I think that should be just fine for a pencil doodle. The interesting thing, of course, is that this sketchbook is coming to an end. The last page of it, that's where I did the Inktober thing. So I have only a few pages left here, so that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then for the new year, I get to start a brand new sketchbook, which will be kind of cool. So, all right, folks, well, I think I have done all I kind of feel like doing with that. 25 minutes of rough, doodling with the EternalPencil gets me this. So, yeah, still Monday, and that's about it. So that's probably the end of part 2. And no ink. No ink on the page. So how hilarious is that? All right, folks, have a wonderful day. Come back again. We'll do something else kind of silly or fun or whatnot, and maybe, yeah, I don't know. We shall see. All right, ciao for now.